Hello students, myself Deepika Prajapati from Computer Department and welcome to all of you in our today's video lecture series. So dear all students, we have already completed chapter number 1 of the Fosd subject, and in a previous video lecture we have to start chapter number 2, and this is our second day of our chapter number 2. So in a previous video lecture we have already seen about requirement gathering and analysis and SRS concept. It means software requirement specification, as well as we can also say as a system requirement specification, its functionality, its characteristics. So now in this lecture we are going to discuss about the next topic of chapter number 2 is software analysis and design, is the design process. So how to define designing process of software? So the design process is sequence of steps to describe all aspect of the system. And second point, design process specify how the system will be implemented and how it will work. So the goal of design process is to plan a solution of problems specified in system as well as software requirement specification. So it includes user interface design, input, output design, data design, process and program design, etc. So design process is the most important thing. It includes the user interface design, input output design, data design, process and program design, etc. So the output of design process is design documents. Okay, so next, here one is the flow chart. It means our figure about design process. So here the software design concept. So first of all, the abstraction of software, then refactoring, then information hiding, pattern, refinement, architecture and modularity. So this all concept is a very most important concept for the designing process of software. So this is our figure, as well as we can also say about the architecture of design process software. Okay, next, classification of design activities. So here one is the design activities are depending on the type of the software being developed. So whenever any software will be designed, then you have to classify these of design activity and follow these all classification of design activities. So the design activities are depending on the type of the software being developed. So first of all, design activities, and it is classified as first of all architecture design, then second one interface design, then third one component design, and fourth one database design. So here one is totally 4 types of design classified as design activities. So first of all architectural design, interface, component and database. So which type of concept covered this all type of software being developed depending on design activity. So let's start. First of all architectural design. So where you can identify the overall structure of the system, subsystem, modules and their relationships. Then it defines the framework of the computer based system, and it can be derived from DFD. DFD is nothing but it stands for data flow diagram. So data flow diagram concept I will be discussed in the next video lecture series. So what is data flow diagram? It is nothing but a concept regarding our project system, and it defined by any flow diagram of the software system. Okay, so DFD concept I will be discussed in our next video lecture series of Fosd. So don't worry. Okay, so architectural design, where you can identify the overall structure of the system. subsystem, modules and their relationships. And it defines the framework of computer based system, and it can be derived from data flow diagram. Okay. Second classification of the design is interface design. So where you can define the interface between system components. It describes how system communicate with itself and with the user also, and it can be derived from data flow diagram and state transition diagram. Okay. Next, component design. So component design that define each system component and show how they operate. It can be derived from state transition diagram. Okay. Database design. So database design it consider as where you define the system data structure, how they are represented in the database. Then existing database can be reused or a new database can be created. Then the data objects and their relationships are defined in ERD, entity relationship diagram. ERD નું stands for થાય છે entity relationship diagram. સો ડિયર અ સ્ટુડન્ટ ડોન્ટ વરી, આપણે આના પછીનો જે વિડીયો લેક્ચર સિરીઝ આવશે એમાં આપણે દરેક ડાયાગ્રામને ડિસ્ક્રિપ્ટિવની અંદર જ સમજવાના છે. તો એમાં આપણે યુઝ કેસ ડાયાગ્રામ પણ સ્ટડી કરી લઈશું, DFD એટલે કે ડેટા ફ્લો ડાયાગ્રામ સ્ટડી કરી લઈશું, એના પછી એક્ટિવિટી ડાયાગ્રામ સ્ટડી કરી લઈશું, એના પછી ERD ડાયાગ્રામ એન્ટિટી રિલેશનશિપ ડાયાગ્રામ પણ સ્ટડી કરી લઈશું, ક્લાસ ડાયાગ્રામ પણ સ્ટડી કરી લઈશું, સિક્વન્સ ડાયાગ્રામ પણ સ્ટડી કરી લઈશું. તો જેટલા પણ ડાયાગ્રામ છે એ આના પછીના જે નેક્સ્ટ વિડીયો આવતા જશે એમાં દરેક ડાયાગ્રામને આપણે એના ડિસ્ક્રિપ્શન સાથે સ્ટડી કરવાના છે. સો ધ ડેટા ઓબ્જેક્ટ્સ એન્ડ ધ રિલેશનશિપ આર ડિફાઇન્ડ in the ERD. It means entity relationship diagram and detailed content described in data dictionary. Okay. So it can be derived from ERD and DD. So ERD stands for entity relationship and DD stands for data dictionary. So database design portion is totally depends on ERD and DD. Without ERD and DD, the database design uncompleted. Okay. So database design જે portion છે software development નો એ totally સેના પર depend છે? એન્ટિટી રિલેશનશિપ ડાયાગ્રામ અને ડેટા ડિક્શનરીના પર. જો આ બે આપણને ફાઇન્ડ આઉટ ના થાય તો આપણે ડેટાબેઝ ડિઝાઇનનું જે પોર્શન છે એને આપણે કમ્પ્લીટ ના કરી શકીએ. ઓકે. નેક્સ્ટ, classification of design methodologies. So the design methodologies are followed in software development from beginning to the completion of the product. Design methodologies are used to provide the guidelines for the design activity, and there are mainly two different approaches are used. First, function oriented design, and second one is object oriented design. So here there are mainly two different approaches are used. First as a function oriented design and second one as a object oriented design. So the design methodologies classified as function oriented and object oriented, and function oriented contain a sub part of the function. So first of all, structure analysis, data flow diagram and structured design. Structure analysis contain DFD, data flow diagram, and structure design is nothing but the basic flow of our structure software system. Okay. Next, this one is our nothing but the design methodologies diagram. So this is our software architecture. It contain quality attribute, IT environment, human dynamics, business strategy and design, and this is totally depends on our design methodology. So this one is our software architecture, quality attributes, IT environment, human dynamics, business strategy and design. Okay. Next, function oriented design, so in which the set of functions are described, then starting at high level view of the system, and each function is successively refined into the more detailed functions or a subsystem, and so on. Data in the system is centralized and shared among different functions, and the function oriented design is further classified into, first of all, as a structure analysis and structure design. Here one is, this is nothing but structure analysis DFD and structure design. So let's start. Structure analysis DFD. So it is used to transform a textual description into graphical form, and it examines the detailed structure of system. It identifies the processes and data flow among these processes, and in a structure analysis, functional requirements specified in SRS are decomposed and analysis of the data flow is represented diagrammatically by data flow diagram DFD. This is our function oriented design architecture as well as graph. So first of all, structural decomposition, then it gives to data flow diagram as well as data flow design, then detailed style description, and then design strategies. Okay. Next, structure design. So during structure design, the results of structure analysis are transformed into the software design. So all the functions identified during analysis are mapped to module structure, and that is useful for implementation. So the aim of structure design is to transform the result of structure analysis into a structure chart. So structure analysis is graphically represented using structure chart. Okay. Next, object oriented design. So in this design, the system is viewed as collection of objects, and each object has its own internal data, and similar objects constitute a class. Class diagram is used to represent the object oriented design. UML modeling and use case are also used in object oriented design. And three main concepts of ODD are, it means object oriented design, are encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, greatly enhanced the ability of developer to manage the software product. Okay. I hope, dear all student, you all easily understand about this all topic from this PPT video lecture series. Okay. Thank you.